Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks. Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Continuing Education, Certificate Programs, Certificate in Apparel Merchandising, CAPMER, BHC 05 Basics of Apparel Industry and Entrepreneurship, Block -2, Unit 5, E-Commerce in Apparel Industry. 5.0, Objectives. We all indulge ourselves in shopping almost every day. Right from buying grocery for home, electronic gadgets, clothes, furniture, home decor items and many more such things, we are constantly making purchases either directly from stores or online. Online shopping has become a popular trend these days as it offers attractive shopping options, convenience to customers and seamless shopping experience across all the channels. In this unit, our purpose has been to enable the student to appreciate the emergence of e-commerce or e-retail as a major form of retailing. Evaluate the special benefits derived from e-retailing as compared to conventional store-based retailing and understand the challenges in e-retailing in context to Indian retail scenario. 5.1 Introduction. We have already discussed about the evolution and transformation of organized retail over the past few decades and its interpretation in India. Refer section 4.3. Unit 4, Block 2, Course 1. We have also been introduced to various retail formats. Refer section 4.4, Unit 4, Block 2, Course 1, which have evolved over time. Now we will explore a retail format, which has grown exponentially in terms of its popularity but which is still at its evolution and growth stage in India. This retail format can be classified under non-store based formats. It is operated with the help of cyberspace or e-space, i.e. Internet. E-commerce therefore refers to all retail activities carried out over Internet. It is a transaction of buying or selling online. 5.2 Concept of e-commerce. The gap between what we can imagine and what we can achieve has never been smaller. There will be nothing in the 10-year window except e-companies. That does not mean that brick and mortar, physical stores, will go away. But click and mortar, virtual stores, will become the only means of survival across many of product categories. E-commerce or electronic commerce refers to trade that actually takes place over the electronic channel, i.e. Internet, where a buyer visits the website of the seller and transaction is done with the help of a payment gateway. The seller then delivers the product or service within the mentioned period of time to the buyer. This transaction can involve tangibles, physical goods such as books, apparel etc. as well as intangibles, services such as an airway ticket, software or any other. Thus e-commerce can be defined as the buying and selling of goods and services on the Internet or the World Wide Web, www. Internet can reverse much of the traditional economics of retailing. 3 factors can be considered essential in understanding the impact of e-retailing on the world retail scenario. These factors are A. Reach. B. Richness. C. Affiliation. Reach refers to the size of the audience. Richness refers to the customization of the products and services to cater to consumer needs in a more individualistic manner, and affiliation is the extent to which e-retailers are responding to customer requests and queries. In real-world retailing, these 3 vital parameters have to be traded off against each other. For example, if a brick-and-mortar retailer goes for a big audience, i.e. decides to cater a mass market, automatically the level of customization and responsiveness towards individual customers goes down drastically. When it comes to internet retailing, reach can be as huge as you can ever imagine because you are no longer constrained by physical space. At the same time, richness need not be sacrificed. Dell Computers pioneered this concept of customized selling, keeping in mind individual consumer and business needs to serve them in the best possible manner. More and more apparel companies are coming up with this customization model with the help of e-retailing. It enables the consumer to select the fabric texture, color, prints and detailing on their garments. They can in fact virtually design a garment and then place an order online. Clearly, the influence of the web is much wider than just buying and selling. The Internet may act as a source of information with consumers using it to compare prices and to update themselves with the latest launches in the market. More often, e-commerce is used to define a broader process of how the Internet is changing the way companies do business. For example, How companies use internet to integrate their supply chain, logistics and automated replenishment systems comes under the broader scope of e-commerce. E-commerce can take the forms as exhibited in Figure 5.1 based on participants involved in the transactions. Figure 5.1 Modes of e-commerce transactions. Look at the screen for table content. In all the further discussions in this unit, the following abbreviations would be used. B2B business-to-business trade. B2C business-to-consumer trade. C2B consumer-to-business trade. C2C consumer-to-consumer trade. B2B are situations where companies do business with each other. B2C are situations where companies do business with consumers. B2C activities is basically nothing else but retailing. It embraces normal retail activities on the web, thus can be referred to as e-retailing or retailing, such as book selling by Amazon.com. B2B and B2C are considered the main forms of e-commerce, with B2B possessing the biggest volume of trade on the internet. However, the creation of online auctions has popularized the other two forms, i.e. C2B and C2C. While C2B is being pioneered by websites like Priceline.com, C2C trade is adopted by websites like eBay.com and OLX.com. A brief history of e-commerce. The origin of e-commerce dates back to only a few decades ago. With the advancement of existing technologies and introduction of innovative technologies, it continues to grow at a rapid pace till date. Thousands of businesses enter into the online marketplace every year in order to reap the benefits of online trade. Electronic data interchange, EDI, a standard way to exchange data between companies, and electronic funds transfer, EFT, introduced in late 1970s, paved the way for modern-day online business. EDI is a way to automate purchasing. Retailers often use it because it allows the stores to link their supplies directly into their stock databases, which lead to automatic replenishment whenever required. It is a safe, secure and verifiable electronic environment. Much as it has changed some industries, EDI has got some serious shortcomings. It can still save time and money, but it usually requires an expensive private or dedicated network system connection between two established trading partners. It is not interactive as well, meaning there is no opportunity for discussion or negotiation. Breakthrough in online shopping came with the opening of the internet to the public in 1991. Before internet, e-commerce was largely a hidden B2B affair. One of the first e-commerce companies that allowed electronic transactions were Amazon and eBay, that debuted in 1995. Amazon launched itself as an online bookstore and has grown to be the largest online retailer in the world today that sells not only books but also furniture, apparel, toys, food, electronics, etc. Then came the dot-com gold rush that brought e-commerce into public limelight for the first time in around 1999. If 1999 was the year of the dot-com startup, some say 2000 was the period of gradual demise. As it started in 1999, everyone rushed to reap its rewards. As a result of this clutter, the list of dead or dying dot-coms grew longer day by day. Did the internet-based e-commerce finished before it got started? Was e-commerce a passing fad after all? It does not seem so, viewing the present scenario. Big companies took time to sink in and absorb the gold rush. They gave time for the dust to settle. Companies like Dell Computers took advantage of the window of opportunities created by e-commerce, and they pioneered the concept of customized selling to consumers as well as businesses. Amazon, Dell, Staples, Office Depot and Hewlett-Packard are the largest and most famous retailers worldwide, and the most popular categories that sell online are music, books, computers, office supplies and other consumer electronics. 5.3 Emergence of e-retailing. In this section, we will majorly talk about the B2C activities, which can be termed as e-retailing. E-retailing is emerging as one of the major channels of retailing over the past decade. It has developed a substantial base in many of the developed countries till date, and its popularity and acceptance in the developing countries is catching up fast. Most of the global retailers such as JCPenney and Walmart, at the present time, are also operating via the electronic channel. That does not mean that they have closed or planning to close other retail formats such as brick-and-mortar stores and catalogs, but e-retailing has become an inevitable option for most of the retailers. Majority of retailers see this channel as an easy and cost-efficient way to expand their businesses across a seamless geographical market. Some of the goods and services are tailor-made for the web and can actually be delivered over the internet. Computer software rank high on this list. Few more categories which are gaining importance are travel tickets, banking and insurance, books and music CDs, downloadable music audios, videos, movies and images to name a few. Highly standardized products such as mobile phones are also doing well over the internet. The conventional wisdom about traditional retail firms, also known as legacy businesses, and the web has been redefined several times in the recent past. In the early phase, from about 1995, it was said that the legacy folks just did not get it, leaving the field clear for electronic traders such as Amazon, which are known as pure plays. During 1998, however, this view started to be modified. The relative success on the internet of BarnesandNoble.com, now BN.com, began to make the pure plays take notice and get ready for some stiff competition from the legacy retailers. Toys R Us, a retail giant in the area of toys, was initially troubled by the sudden surge of e-retailers such as eToys. They gradually started to recover with their e-initiative ToysRUs.com. By around 2000, the conventional wisdom shifted once again, to almost the other way round. It was said that the pure plays had their years of fun. Now the big boys, such as Home Depot, Walmart and Kmart, are seriously moving towards web-based retailing, and are likely to demolish their virtual rivals. On the face of it, the legacy businesses ought to have some significant advantages over the pure plays. They can reap the rewards of their strong links with the suppliers to demand deep discounts from them. They can easily leverage their established brand names and their already existing huge base of loyal consumers. These big boys can utilize multiple channels to cater to their already existing and ever-evolving customer base. 5.4 Advantages of e-retailing. Every new and emerging concept has its own set of advantages and disadvantages. E-retailing is no exception to this. E-retailing is, of course, a win-win situation for the market, which comprises of buyers as well as sellers. Therefore, e-retailing has made lives easy for both the retailers as well as the consumers. No matter what the critics may write about the presence of e-retailing, the emergence and rapid expansion of e-retailing has turned out to be one of the most influential factors in the world retail scenario over the last decade. As a result of this technological expansion, both retailers as well as consumers are benefiting from its presence. What extra values does the internet offer to the consumers as well as businesses? The web's reach is global. Moreover, there are no limits of shelf space or warehousing. Despite of a limited physical stock of the books, Amazon quickly proclaimed itself as the world's biggest bookseller. eBay aggregates bidders from around the globe, giving it a huge advantage over other conventional bidders. The most obvious gains come from cutting out shop-front costs and removing intermediaries from the traditional distribution network. Disintermediation. Disintermediation results in cheaper distribution. This advantage in terms of cost can be partially transferred to the consumers, which in turn would mean that the consumers get the products at a cheaper price than other conventional channels of retailing. This cost advantage also results in an increased margin for the retailers as well as manufacturers. Therefore, it creates a win-win situation for all the members of the distribution network, i.e. the manufacturers, retailers as well as the consumers. E-retailers also save on warehousing costs as they do not have to create a physical warehouse and maintain physical inventory or stock keeping. Their virtual stores need not stock all the items displayed on the websites. Usually, e-retailers have collaborations with manufacturers. As soon as the order arrives, it directly goes to the respective manufacturers and they in turn deliver the goods to the consumers. This process saves the efforts to maintain a physical warehouse by the retailer. It also results in more efficient distribution. Advantages to the retailers. E-retailing has brought along with it an array of benefits for the retailers. E-retail has many provisions which makes it an obvious choice for most of the major retailers as well as for emerging retailers all across the globe. The advantages for existing retailers are: it is the cheapest and most cost-effective way to business expansion. Companies can foray into new geographical market segments without putting additional efforts. With a website and a payment gateway integrated for online transactions, the entire world is your market. This flexibility is not there in brick-and-mortar retailing, where massive investments have to be poured into the business expansion plan in order to open new stores in different geographical locations, both within the country as well as in different countries. Therefore, we can conclude that e-retailing removes geographical barriers or constraints for a retailer. As soon as an existing retailer starts to operate via electronic channel, the customer base can be increased by many folds as a result of added exposure and visibility to the entire world. This is not as easy as it seems though, as it needs an effective promotion campaign as well as a gigantic and strong distribution network to raise awareness and to support the pouring inquiries as well as orders which might be generated in almost no time as a result of this expansion. Much working capital is not needed. For new and emerging retailers, especially for new entrepreneurs, e-retailing opens up a new window of opportunities where they can transform their thought process and business plan into reality. A new entrepreneur, in majority of the cases, faces shortage of financial resources to buy or rent land and to construct a store to start retailing. They also lack manpower needed to operate the stores. Therefore, e-retailing can be the most obvious option for a new entrant in the retail industry. Even if the business plan fails, it does not result in major losses as in the case of brick-and-mortar stores. The risk factor is minimum in this case, where the entrepreneur opts to materialize the business concept in the form of a website to sell the products or services. The investment is restricted to buying a web space which costs only around a few thousands INR, and buying the services of a payment gateway provider which again costs in the same range as web space. The cost of developing a website has come down to a few thousands INR at the present times. This cost of developing an interactive website can go into lakhs INR, depending on the features and the type of interaction needed. For example, a website which sells books would require lesser interaction with the consumers as compared to a website which sells apparel or accessories. Many apparel websites are providing interaction with the consumer, which ranges from virtual trials to customization of designs and prints on garments. Ray-Ban has come up with a very interactive website to attract consumers to try sunglasses. In addition to the above-mentioned benefits, the retailers can easily add assortment as well as variety to their product mix, or in other words branch into other product categories. Adding product categories was never this easy. Now, they do not even have to trade off between the variety and assortment of products in their virtual store. They can effortlessly add as many product categories and subcategories as they can think of, without any substantial investment. In effect, contrary to this, brick-and-mortar stores have to think many times before adding product categories and subcategories due to limited space and size of the store. It is practically not possible to add product categories and product depth in a brick-and-mortar store after a saturation point, after which the store would lose its aesthetic appeal and would look too crowded. If a brick-and-mortar store has to expand its product mix beyond a certain point, they have to add more retail space. Keeping in mind the fact that retail space prices and rentals are touching skies, it becomes a very expensive proposition for them. The data on the internet can also be exploited far more easily than in the real world. Everything can be recorded for future reference and research on consumer buying behavior and preferences. Apart from every transaction, which web pages a customer visits and for how long can also be fetched with the hail of software. This information can be vital for retailers to assess themselves and their performances. This set of information can also form a precious array of data which can be utilized for personalized marketing and promotional attempts. Advantages to the consumers. Empirical evidences point to ease of price comparison and greater choices as its two biggest plus points that makes internet trade far more convenient than other conventional forms of trade. Physical trade. Convenience is the key term for the consumers. E-retailing not only saves the consumers precious time and efforts, it saves money too. Now the consumer does not have to spare much time to go to distant places to compare and evaluate different options. They do not even have to put much effort for the same. E-retailing has made exploring and shopping as effortless for the consumers as it can get. Nothing can be more convenient than sitting at home and accessing the vast sea of information on your fingertips. Moreover, the consumers can choose a convenient time for the same. They can come from work, relax, have their dinner, and then sit even at midnight to compare and purchase products and services with few mere clicks of the mouse on their computer. Brick-and-mortar stores do not provide any of the above-mentioned flexibilities to the consumer. It puts time constraints on the consumer. Most of the working class struggles to find time for exploring products, evaluating and shopping. Even if they do find time, they have to put enormous efforts to travel to various stores which might be situated miles away from their residences. Booking travel tickets was never so easy, but now the consumer does not need to stand for hours in long queues to book their travel tickets. Even paying bills, purchasing an insurance policy, sending money to people all over the world, checking bank account statements, accessing the share market, stockbroking and many more such activities have now become a cakewalk. 5.5 Challenges in e-retailing in context to Indian retail scenario. There is no hint of doubt on the array of advantages derived from e-retailing. But it is also believed that brick-and-mortar stores create a better ambience of the products in display than e-retailing. Websites are not so good when it comes to impulse purchases that come from visits to shopping centers. Also, as it depends on a separate delivery system, in case of tangible goods, the customers have to wait for few days till the goods are delivered to them. This does not lead to immediate gratification as in the case of brick-and-mortar stores. Today's consumers want immediate or instant gratification of their needs in the form of purchased products. Not all product categories can be catered successfully through the e-retail channel. In general, this form of retailing is more suitable for the service industry than for tangible goods. So the question arises, what kind of goods and services sell well electronically? The simplest distinction here is between high-touch and low-touch items. High-touch items include clothes and shoes, where the consumer desires to touch and feel the material, as well as a few grocery items where the consumer prefers to be able to see and inspect the items physically before buying. Another factor which adds to the difficulty for clothing and an accessory to be sellable online is the fit, where the consumer needs to do product trials. Product trial is also applicable to many electronics and automobiles where it is almost impossible to convince the consumer for buying without trial. In general, low-touch items have proven to be sellable over the web so far. Internet is trying to overcome few shortcomings for apparel and accessories by incorporating features such as virtual trials. Check out Ray-Ban's website to find out virtual trial of its sunglasses and spectacles on you. You just need to have a webcam attached to your computer system. Due to technological changes, the possibilities of online transactions are increasing day by day, but still there is a need to develop a more secure payment transaction system for e-retailing. The websites often demand for the credit card numbers of the consumers, and this remains the most cited reasons for not buying things online. This is one of the serious challenges in the way of e-retailing, as insecurity of mind is very difficult to deal with. However, many retailers are able to surpass this hurdle in their road to e-glory by proposing and incorporating a payment on delivery option among the other payment options such as debit card and credit card payments. Payment on delivery means that the consumer would make the payment only on successful delivery of the products at their respective delivery addresses. This payment on delivery option has sorted out two of the major consumer issues in e-shopping. 1. The insecurity in making online payment due to credit card or debit card misuse, cybercrime, and 2. The insecurity of making payment prior to the delivery of products as a result of lack of belief in the delivery system of the retailer. Most of the Indian retailers, which sell tangible goods of ordinary monetary value such as books, mobile phones and apparel, have incorporated this payment option on their websites. Technological change to improve speed and capacity is probably more important. Broadband internet connections are making lives easier for e-retailers, as most of online consumers value time and efforts more than other decisive parameters. Apparel and fashion retail is still a challenge for almost all the major retailers across the globe. Although, basic apparel such as round-neck printed t-shirts, formal shirts, shorts, and men's undergarments have become successful categories for online purchases, high-fashion garments and footwear still remains a major concern for the retailers. Highly fashionable items such as women's dresses, party-wear gowns, and lingerie are not enjoying great popularity as these items are extremely sensitive and are not fit for mass distribution in standardized fits. Also, categories such as trousers where fit is a major concern for all consumers, remains a low-hit item over internet. It would be incorrect to think that luring and attracting consumers through electronic channels would be a cakewalk. There is so much noise on the internet that getting sufficiently well known to win customers can be quite hard. In the physical retail world, one can simply put a loud news store on a good site and wait for passers-by to come in. On the web one needs to do far more to attract attention. Another problem which can arise and which already exists in many of the cases as a result of multiple channels of retailing is the fear of cannibalization. Cannibalization means eating up its own sales. Those retailers who have added or plan to add a new e-channel to their already existing channels such as physical stores, as well as catalogs, would be vulnerable to cannibalization of its own sales from other channels. Thus, adding a new channel of retailing would not result in substantial increase in the consumer base, but it would only result in the shift of their own existing customer base from their existing channels towards the new channels such as e-retailing. It also would result in a conflict of interest among the various retail channels of the same retailer. Instead of competing with other retailers, these retailers would have to fight against their own newly added distribution channel. In-text activity 1. Place an order for an apparel/textile product on any online portal and write down your experience in 200 words. You are listening to this audiobook on Audio Learn IGNOU. 5.6 E-retailing as a contributor to business entrepreneurship. E-retailing has opened doors for many aspiring entrepreneurs who want to get started on their own. Most of the graduates and postgraduates aspire to become successful businessperson. They might have great ideas, but all they lack is financial support. As real estate rates are touching skies in the present scenario, they are left with no options, as they cannot afford to buy or rent these super expensive retail spaces. Check your progress. 2. Note, use the space provided for your answer. 1. Write down any 4 advantages of e-retailing to retailers. 2. List 2 advantages of e-retailing to consumers. 3. How is e-retailing helpful for a person who has less funds to start a business? 4. Write down any 2 challenges of e-retailing. 5.7. Let us sum up. We can conclude that e-commerce has opened up enormous opportunities for businesses to expand and explore. It has encouraged budding entrepreneurs to get started. It has made our lives convenient in numerous ways. It has made shopping a hassle-free experience with minimum efforts. The rise and growth of e-commerce, and especially retailing, has created a win-win situation for manufacturers, retailers as well as consumers. However, it has resulted in the closure of many businesses which served as intermediaries between manufacturers and the retailers. It has also succeeded in bringing the entire world to one platform and one marketplace. The list is indeed endless. E-retailing has traveled a long way from where it originated. The technology is constantly evolving, and as a result, e-retailing is getting much more refined and online shopping experience is getting enhanced day by day. It has also made way for retailers to opt for multiple channels to offer their products and services, multi-channel retailing. At this point of time, it can be inferred that e-retailing has shown mixed response and its success has varied among the various product categories and service types. It has proved to be extremely successful across several product categories such as books, software, and downloadable stuff such as music and videos. It also has shown great success in the service industry such as travel tickets, banking and insurance, to name a few. However, there is still a long road to travel for e-retailing and e-retailers. 5.8 Keywords. World Wide Web, invented by Tim Berners-Lee in 1990. World Wide Web browser is a worldwide everyman everyday communication system called Internet/www. Brick and click refers to businesses that use a mix of offline and online channels for business. Brick and mortar refers to business operations through traditional outlets. Pure play, e-commerce companies that only sell through the internet. Disintermediation, reduction in the use of intermediaries between producers and consumers. E-glory, fame and success which is achieved by e-retailers over time since its inception. Entrepreneur, a person who initiates a new business idea and implements it in form of a business establishment keeping in mind all the risks involved. Fad, a trend which stays for a very short period of time. It rises and declines very fast. Gratification, a feeling of fulfillment of needs which leads to satisfaction. Payment gateway, a secure channel through which the customer payment passes before it reaches the seller's account. It is a highly encrypted channel to keep the electronic data safe and secure. Product mix, the combination of products offered for sale by a retail outlet, which takes into account both the variety and quantity of goods. Trade-off, an exchange that occurs as a compromise. Win-win, of or being a situation in which the outcome benefits each of involved group of people. For example, a win-win proposition for the buyer and the seller. Thank you for watching. We will see you in next video with next chapter.